Hello, hello. I'm Chris with the Legacy team, and today we're going to be revisiting a pretty awesome turning technique that is a showstopper, and that is the hollow spiral technique. Now, this is actually becoming an onboarding project for our new Legacy CNC customers, and so we're just going to show as a demonstration for you guys how we're building this entire project together in one video. So there's obviously two parts, the hollow spiral process as well as the candlestick base. So we're going to be using two workstations, the turning center module, which is an option that can be added to the Maverick E-Series at any time, and the horizontal work table to do the base. So let's go see how that is done on the Maverick CNC system. Before we can turn the actual candlestick holder, we needed to bore a 7/8 diameter hole 1.625 inches deep on one end of the spindle. This is actually for the candle to insert into the cup of the candlestick holder. To mount this blank properly in the turning workstation, we're going to be using a self-centering 4-jaw chuck on the headstock and a 60-degree cone to go in our tailstock as a live center. This will ensure that the blank is centered perfectly within the turning workstation. After making some adjustments so that we can easily get the blank in and out, we can secure this within the turning center, and this is ready to cut. Throughout this entire cutting demonstration, we opened up the brushes of the dust boot so that you can see all the cutting action. In total, we're going to be using 5 different cutters to produce this spindle. The first cutter is our 1.25" surfacing cutter, and this is used to mostly turn it round and rough the material to the blank sizes that we need it to be in different sections. The reason we use this surfacing cutter instead of other traditional end mills is because the flat base of the carbide is not angled like a fishtail like other traditional tooling. This has actually been ground to be perfectly flat across the bottom, which gives us a almost polished surface when we are turning stock around or surfacing things flat with this tool. The next tool used here is called a classic plunge cutter. Now this is a classical design that gives us a round cove with a small flat and then a radius all tied into one single cutter profile. Now the type of cutting technique we're going to be using here and for the next couple of cutters is called a turning tool profile. This simply plunges while rotating the stock continually so that we can apply the shape of the cutter around the circumference of our spindle. We'll do the same turning tool profile technique with this 90-degree V cutter on both ends of the spindle. This gives us a nice transitional section at the top and bottom of the hollow spiral candlestick body. The next cutter is what actually shapes a majority of the spindle itself, and this is a 1.5" barley twist cutter. Just like the last two cutters, this cutter is also going to perform a turning tool profile on both end sections of where the spiral twist is going to start and end on this hollow spiral section. Afterwards, the twist factor can be applied, and this is going to be performing a 2-start barley twist, and each start is going to have multiple passes to ensure we minimize vibration and give us the smoothest cut possible. The final cutter is what's going to give this spindle a huge wow factor, and that is cutting the hollow effect for the hollow spiral candlestick. This is a 3/8 spiral cutter performing this through cut down the center of each start. All the cutters used throughout this cutting demonstration are from magnate.net. I'll put a link in the video description below that lists out each cutter that was used. To wrap things up, we're going to switch back to our 1.25" surfacing cutter, and this is going to turn a tenon on the bottom section of this spindle. Now the reason we switched back and did this cutting procedure last is so that we could have stability throughout the entire machining process, especially for the more delicate procedures like the barley twist and hollowing processes. Legacy's turning workstation is one of our customers' favorite features about our CNC machines. However, it wouldn't be any different from other turning workstations if it wasn't for our turning software that we developed that takes specific advantage of using cutter shape profiles like we saw today. This was all done in Legacy's Conversational CAM Pro software and made this process so fast and so simple to produce. And there we have it. She turned out beautiful. Now this only took about 15 minutes to produce on the CNC machine. And so again, even after all this time, after watching this done hundreds of times, it is absolutely mesmerizing to see that take place. Now let's jump over to our horizontal work table in order to produce the base for our candlestick. To get this candlestick base on and off of the machine quickly, we're able to mount it to a T-track table using Legacy's Low Pro side clamps. If you're interested in adding these type of clamping systems to your CNC, call 801-491-0010. Now in total, we used 3 cutters to complete the entire candlestick base. The first cutter is a 90-degree V cutter, and we saw that it added 2 chamfers in a circular pattern at 2 different levels. To match the design of the base to the candlestick cup, we're using a plunge, cove, and bead cutter that adds a radius and a cove detail of the base. Last, a 3/8 spiral cutter is used to complete 3 processes: to machine shoulders along the flat surfaces next to the chamfers, to machine the round mortise where the tenon of the candlestick will join to the base, and third, to cut out the shape of the round base itself. All the cutters used throughout this cutting demonstration are from magnate.net. I'll leave a list of these cutters down below in the video description. All that's left is to sand, glue these parts together, and apply some finish. Now for the moment you've been waiting for, the final results. Again, what sets this project apart is the actual hollow spiral effect. Now let's take a look at some other examples of where customers have implemented this same technique into their projects. This is being added to home decor items like candlestick holders, bowls and vases, as well as stair balusters, and even high-end furniture. Now, if you had the ability to add this hollow spiral to your projects, where would you place it? Leave your suggestions in the comments below. So, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did on producing this. If you're interested in learning more about a Legacy CNC system and what it can do for you and your business opportunities, I recommend you visit our website at legacywoodworking.com. Now, if you have any questions and would like to talk to a CNC expert, you can always call 801-491-0010. You can also leave any comments or questions down below. Now, if you'd like to see more cutting demonstrations like this, just click right over there. Don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and check that notification box so that you can be notified when new videos like this come out. As always, thanks for watching, and remember, Legacy solves more woodworking problems than any other CNC manufacturer in the industry.